Queen, when in your mind did you become a sacred woman?
I believe I woke up to this 40 years ago.
When people do pushback, what is the pushback usually? What is the critique?
There's no more time to straddle the fence. And it's no judgment whenever that time comes for you.
As a man, do you think that there's anything different about the way he is able to hear you?
Sacred women are taking the training, and now the men are coming in. It's a force to reckon with.
Hey family, it's Carlos Watson. I am so pleased today to welcome Queen Afua. She's the author of Sacred Woman and several other New York Times best-selling books. She has become a sensation all around the world. Women and men, all sorts of people learning about wellness and health in a very different way. Come join me for a very special journey with the one, the only Queen Afua. Hi, Queen.
Hi, greetings, Brother Carlos.
Very nice to meet you.
Oh my goodness, it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
How was your day today? I can imagine there's lots going on in your world.
There's a lot going on in my world. And for justice, actually. There's health justice, food justice. There's also home justice to stabilize homes, including my own family's home of 70 years in our family home.
Yeah.
And so justice on every level.
Yeah.
And this being with you right now is a part of the justice. I feel already charged up, fired up to stay in the battle and win the battle of our wellness on every level, body, mind, spirit, relationship, and our homes, and all of that. So I'm going to keep standing for all of us. For those who cannot stand, I will stand for them.
Do you ever find yourself getting tired? And maybe that's almost too simplistic a way to ask the question, but I imagine you must find yourself getting tired or weary. When do you get tired and weary, and what do you do to stay in the justice fight when you do get tired, when you do get weary?
Actually, when a challenge comes, I go into a deeper state of centeredness, and I take my breath. And I go into a state of peace, knowing that if I be still enough, that I can hear the message at that very moment from the Most High. I call that impeccable listening. I'm in the eye of the storm of impeccable listening. And listening from within, we all have that gift to hear the truth at that very moment. And it is just to ask, what is it, Most High? Show me the way to hear and then to act and do. And it's that last part that most don't follow up with the doing of it. And I've learned through time that if I will follow those 3 steps, is to ask, to listen from deep within. So I'm not tired, I'm fortified. When a crisis comes, I get more fortified. I know how to heal, and this what I'm doing is not a mystery. I teach everyone what I do and what I know. That is 2 elements. We're made up of 5 elements. The ones in nature are 4 of them. The primary element is over all 4. It is your mind, ether, how you think. It is your air, your breath of life. It is your fire, your blood, your reproductive center, your will. It is your water element. It is to be open and flexible. It's to heal the relationships. That's your water.
Queen, when in your mind did you become a sacred woman?
We're all born divine and sacred. And there is a prayer that came from my ancient ancestors, and that prayer is that helped to fortify the sacredness of my quest and of our quest. This is the prayer. We are the women who lighten the darkness. We have come to lighten the darkness. It is lightened. We have overcome the destroyers. We are there for those who weep, who hide their faces, who sunk down. They looked upon us then. We are the women. We are the healers. We are the women. We are the healers. That, when I read that years after, about 5 years after writing the book, Sacred Woman. Sacred Woman's work has been out for 35 years about. Then the book came about 22 years. But I believe I woke up to this. It has to be now 40 years ago, but I didn't know, I didn't have a term for it. I was just healing myself. My whole work in the beginning was heal thyself. That's how my first book was written. People know about the small green book at that time, Heal Thyself for Health and Longevity. So I was on that quest to heal myself and to fast and cleanse and teach others, because I was able to overcome the asthma that they said I was hopeless, the doctor said, and the allergies and the eczema and the chronic PMS and the constipation and the arthritis and the headaches and the sleep apnea. I would sleep and have to wake up and want to go back to sleep. So I had to get rid of all of that toxicity before I can find my sacredness. I can find my body, my spiritual healing. And that didn't take a long time once I got on the quest. It only took 2 21-day cycles. So we're gonna make this ourselves. We get into the habit of having fresh everything. Fresh is always best. And when I started to detox, and one of the first books I read was Dick Gregory, Cooking with Mother Nature. And I found that book at a retreat that I was invited to. So it was like sacredness didn't just come. It was processed. It took me 7 years of channeling, of remembering the stories, of remember what I did to help the women and their families and their mates and their children. Because a woman who's whole, when a woman comes to see for consultation, she doesn't come as herself. She comes as her mate that they're having challenges. She comes as her mother and father, the grandparents and the family. She comes as children, things that happen with her children. So she starts with herself, with her womb issues in her breast issues in her heart issues in her memory. Everything is there. But she'll always talk about my family, because we're connected, we're interconnected. We're not just ourselves.
I am sure that there are lots of people who hear you and are finally hearing what they know they've needed to hear all along. And so they begin the journey, as you said, either in small parts or in longer parts. But I bet you there are also people who, for whatever reason, aren't able to hear you or aren't able to receive it and who push back on it. When people do push back, what is the pushback usually? What is the critique? When someone thoughtful hears you but doesn't go on the journey with you, what do they usually say back to you?
They'll say, I don't want to make that change. Most people who are, by the time they reach me, they've already gone through some crisis in their life. They've gone through the door of no return. They don't know what else to do. And so when they hear me, they do hear me now more than they've ever heard me before. These last year and a half, 2 years, people are listening. People who you would never expect to make a shift and change are making a shift and change. And at that moment is when people come to me, when there's nowhere else to go to, they have no way out of this. And because I have been exercised constantly in this quest, in this healing us, I've been listening so long. So I open up and I ask for guidance, and I know exactly what to do, what to say, how to give it, how to be patient. This is freedom fighting time. This is no more time to straddle the fence. But you can straddle the fence and then you just land up in the hospital. But that's okay, because maybe you have to go to the hospital a few times. You have to have the whole boat to drop when you say, okay, now I'm ready. You know, and it's no judgment. It's like whenever that time comes for you. So on the 21st, I'm asking everybody to join us on one day to fast and to pray, to break all the chains and the cycles for disease, mental disease, physical sickness, emotional breakdown, home violence, sickness, whatever that issue that we have, and to stop the drinking. Can we do it one day? The drugging, the cigarettes. Don't use those crutches. They will never help you. They will make you more enslaved. And stop the cursing each other and the crabs in the barrel. Everything that makes us sick and divide and conquer us, we must end on the 21st.
Queen, take me back. Where did you grow up?
In Brooklyn, New York. And I was born in the house that I'm in right now. So this has been, as they say, my stomping ground, my foundation's been Brooklyn. Tell
me a little bit about you as a girl, as a young woman.
Oh, well, 9 years old, my mother and father took me to the march on Washington. And of course, Martin Luther King was giving his speech, and I have a dream.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
And I remember going with my parents. My father was a Garveyite. My father was an entrepreneur. He was a dental technician. He serviced a dentist in Brooklyn. He had a laboratory, and he had 3 brownstones. He told me to take care of my people. He was so proud that I opened up a healing center. He was my first client. He trusted me. I gave him his herbs. I gave him his plants. I did exercise with him. At that time, he was in his 70s. And I said, Dad, you can heal. You know, you don't have to be sick.
And do you mind if I ask, what was your dad's name?
Ethan Robinson. And my mother, Ida Robinson, she's from Louisiana. And we were recognized in Louisiana from my grandfather, Robert Ford, as having the best farm in Louisiana. Now, when I became 15 years old, I didn't know I was going to become a healer. I was an artist. I studied dance. I had a dance company. I danced at the Metropolitan Opera House. So I thought I was going to be. But Credit had another plan for me. And I became a healer, a natural healer.
But you said you struggled with health issues. I mean, I heard you mention asthma, PMS, sleep apnea. How long was that you were in a bad way health-wise?
Since I was about 7, 8, 9, I remember scratching. I was introduced to my body in terms of memory. I was in stress. And I know that skin is the emotions. Every issue that we have on a physical level, it starts on an emotional level, an emotional breakdown. So I was stressing, and that was my eczema from head to toe. And that eczema stayed with me. And so when I became about 15 years old, that's when the asthma attack came. And literally it's an attack on the lungs, it shuts down. But I didn't know it was because of dairy and, milk, the cheese, the ice cream, the eggs. I didn't know it was all the meat and the fried foods and all of that. And that's what was causing all the plaque on my lungs and my throat and my sinus and my blood, which showed up in my skin, which showed up in the constipation in my colon. It's all connected. So that was, and then I had the chronic PMS. And you know what? I'm so grateful I had all those issues, because if I didn't have all those chronic issues that the doctor said there's no hope for me, I wouldn't have made it. I'd have been on a respirator.
What does your son say when he hears this? As a man, do you think that there's anything different about the way he is able to hear you, to embrace what you say, not embrace what you say?
Supernova, both of them, but he's in charge of Man Heal Thyself, Wellness Warriors. And I wrote the initial book, but I was looking for men to teach the training, because the men kept pleading with me after Sacred Woman to write a book for them from my perspective. And so it took me years to finally do that. So he is doing a mighty job, him and Hallelujah Walcott, in bringing our men to their empowerment. And what we're noticing is that families are getting healthier. And those Sacred Women are taking the training, and now the men are coming in to take the training. And those families, it's a force to reckon with.
May I renew myself.
May I renew myself.
May I become strong.
May I become strong.
Arrange for me the way.
Arrange for me the way.
The unity of the family between male and female. So Supernova is, he's a wellness warrior.
I really appreciate some of the work and some of the teaching that you've been doing around a healthier womb, around some of the challenges that lots of people have, lots of women have. Talk to me a little bit about the kinds of advice and some of what you were sharing with other women who may be struggling with endometriosis or with fibroids or with other issues.
When the book was written, Sacred Woman, it was about 60% of Black women had fibroid tumors. Now it's 90% of Black women are suffering from fibroid tumors. And if it's not arrested, what can happen? Because if it's removed, it can grow back again, because we have to change our lifestyle. We're eating still toxic foods, emotionally we're still toxic. So it comes back again. By the time it comes back the second or third time, your physicians recommend you go ahead and get a hysterectomy. So that's where we're going on one side. And it's all about changing lifestyle. 45% of Black mothers die in childbirth. There's a problem there. If they're dying in childbirth, their children are dying in childbirth. That is a crisis. That is a pandemic. One of my trainings, I have an institution of wellness. I teach holistic health. Find the doorway that's going to work for you. We'll navigate you in. Reach out to us. We're hands on and hands around. We will get back to you. We will say, this is what you need to do to resolve that issue. So for the women, if you're suffering from any womb issue, we meet up. We have our classes on Wednesday. Come and join us.
Queen, I know that they may only give us a few more minutes, and so I want to try something with you, if you don't mind, that I call rapid fire. Would you mind if we tried rapid fire for a brief moment?
Uh-huh.
What is your favorite book of all time, other than the wonderful books that you've written? What is your favorite book?
Malcolm X. The autobiography of Malcolm X is what comes to my mind.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
I'm not connected to a favorite movie, because I'm creating my own inner movies all the time of what I want to see for the world, for my people, for my communities. I don't have a favorite movie.
What's the name of your favorite inner movie?
My favorite inner movie, Heal Thyself.
Love it. I love that. Most beautiful place you've ever been to in this world?
Within. the most beautiful place is within. It is the most peaceful place.
Queen Afua, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna let you go, but I'm not gonna let you go for good. I'm gonna come see you in Brooklyn.
I appreciate you. Thank you for staying with me. And I love your blue. It's all about meditation, peace, and love. The green is the healing. All the colors are magic.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be safe.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Carice, guess what?
What?
I was gonna make a joke, but because you love the Queen so much, I would sooner make a joke about sneakers than I would about the Queen.
Carlos,
Yes.
everyone who's tapped in was really excited about her today.
That book came from my white Jewish friend who passed it to me. I passed it to Carice and 3 other friends. That's how it happened.
I liked her talking about the different kinds of justice. I thought that was
What
interesting.
she's going through right now with her family home.
Yeah.
It's like gentrification taking over New York.
Yeah,
The way that
yeah.
she's fighting for that justice right now is so of the moment. I told her everything is in divine and perfect order. She was like, yeah!
I love Carice, a shiny being.
That's it!
Hey, really hope you enjoyed Queen Afua. I had heard so much about her from some of my colleagues, from Carice, from Sasha, from others, but I just loved learning from her myself. So many times I sat there and heard her talk about being fortified, heard her talk about the different forms of justice, heard her talking about it's not about me, but it's about what's happening more broadly in Brooklyn. And not only did I nod my head and say amen, but inside I said, aha. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you start to read her books and learn from her as well. Thank you for tuning into the show. I can't promise you we're always going to have a queen on the show, but I can promise you that we'll always have someone special. Come see you soon.